think I got to put it in about that position. As you see, I don't have any room for error. The biggest problem with big logs is trying to get them exactly where you need them, because I'm not going to be able to just slide that big one forward. Okay, now if you watched me one other time roll a large log on, you see that I struggled with it. The tractor can't even come close to picking up that one. It tried, but there's just no way. And don't forget to put these up. The last thing I would want would that big log to roll the whole way off. Yeah, 12.1 in length. And this down here is the big end. And it has a diameter of about 17 inches. 17 there. About 16 and a half here. So I got to roll it down. Now the bad thing about this whole setup here is I don't have a lot of room. This cuts 12 foot, 12.3. So as you see, it's got to be placed pretty good on there. Got to be pretty tight there. I think I got to put it in about that position. As you see, I don't have any room for error. The biggest problem with big logs is trying to get them exactly where you need them, because I'm not going to be able to just slide that big one forward. Hopefully I can get a good positioning here. I have a branch here I want to get rid of, make it easier to roll. I've kind of learned my lesson. Here I'm just moving the carriage in the end position so I can see exactly and mark where the blade's going to end up. I have cut some 12-foot logs on this mill, but they were smaller diameter so to get them in the final position, I was able to push them forward a little bit. This one will be too heavy just to push forward. It looks like already I got to take the end that way. I'll get my wedge and get it started that way. Boy, that's pretty close there, but it needs to go about straight on from there. When moving logs around manually, you sure will get to know how to use your wedges and what type and how big you need. Oop, that's going to run right over top of that. The whole idea of these wedges and placement is to spin one edge and get one of the ends to move a little bit to change the angle that's actually going onto the mill. And you change the angle, that's going to either have one end go on first or second, which is going to change the location of the log on the bed itself. Maybe just a touch more. Okay, now I need to take it down closer. Just so it don't take off on me. I'll have it roll down to this point, and then maybe I can adjust it some more. In retrospect, sticking my fork in front of it to stop it like that did stop it, but it did put a lot of pressure on my arms. It may not be the safest. I suppose at some point it could pull you right over with it. I don't know where this is going to fit. It is close. Another lesson on these big logs, keep the wedge nearby here. have to sharpen up that point some. Okay, see what we got here. Pretty close. This end, it is close. Whew, that's close. Looking good. This is where I got to be careful. I don't want to hit my saw. Like I need it to go over that way just a touch. Yep. Now if I pull this end down, oh, maybe. You need to try to spin this in the right position by using the wedges to the final position, because once I get it on the bed of the sawmill, I don't think I can move it at all, or at least spin it like I want to, but you may be able to. I haven't tried that yet. Maybe a little bit more. The whole idea of these wedges and placement is to spin one edge and get one of the ends to move a little bit to change the angle that's actually going onto the mill. And you change the angle, that's going to either have one end go on first or second, which is going to change the location of the log on the bed itself. Yeah, need a little bit more yet. Well, like I said, I don't have a lot of room with this big of a log. There we go. That should be enough. Whoa. Better put those stops back up. Certainly don't want that log to roll the whole way off, as heavy it is. There we go. That's close. Might have to trim that off just a touch. There's no way, I don't think I can move it forward. Just too heavy. Said unfortunately, you don't have a lot of breathing room here. No, there's no way I'm moving it. What I'm trying to do is make sure and cut the whole way through, and I'm going to have to just cut just a touch off of this and then straight down, because it's not quite, barely going through the top, but that's a little bit of an uneven cut. I'll give you a better view here. Now, as you can see, this is barely making it through right here. So I'm going to cut about an inch off and make this about exactly 12 foot. What I'm going to do here, just to make sure I can get through in the cut. So I wish I could move it forward that way. There's just no way I'm going to be able to move it without taking it back down some. And there's a problem with moving it. I'll show you after I cut this. Okay, that should do the trick. We'll run her up through one more time just to make sure. Yep, it just barely makes it through, but it does make it through. It's hard to roll the log on exactly all the way tight against the saw blade because you have these. You have the roller guides. And these roller guides stick out about that far from the blade. So a lot of the other ones, the smaller ones, I was able to get them on, then push them forward, and I get a little bit longer that way. This one, I was not able to do that. Well, it's 12 foot and a half inch, so I'm just a touch over. Now I'm going to check to see where the pith is on both ends here. Hopefully it's close enough where I don't have to jack it. These are just 2x4s, so I'm not going to worry a lot about it. It's about 8 inches. If it's within a half inch or so, I'm going to leave it. Actually, the piths are only 1/4 inch apart, so that's going to be good enough. Okay, now I'm looking at the log from the small end. This is the small end. They say the boards are only as good as your small end. The log is pretty straight. I've got a little dip here, so I'm going to go down a little bit. I want to get at least 2x6s. I think if I start cutting right about here, I should be able to get a 2x6 out of that, out of the next cut. And we'll see what we can get out of that one. That's right at 14.5. That's what I'm going to mark it at right now. I know exactly, I know how far I got to go down for my 2-inch bores. So that's 14.5. So if I go for a 2-inch board, my next cut will be at 12.5.
Another issue with these max cuts is you got to be careful of the blade up above as you're taking out the slabs, because you can drag the blade with it.
Definitely too thin of a slab cut. I'm gonna have to make another cut to make up for it. The width of this can is 6 inches, so now I can just cut 2 inches down and continue 2 inches down to get my 2x6x12s. Okay, this is what we got with that 17-inch log, 16 on one side. I have 7 good 2x6x12s, 1 good 2x10x12. This 2x6x12 right here didn't come out very well. It's got a big bow in it. I don't know whether it hit that knot, I was going too fast, or what happened, but it went down to 1 5/8 inches after it came out of that knot. Now I also might have hit a rock in it, so I think I'm going to change the blade before I cut the next one. I'm going to have to be more careful on that. No sense wasting a blade, even though that one was sharpened. But that 2x6 is no good. I can't use that anywhere. I can't stack it because the thickness is way off. And the thickness is what you need to be consistent on these, so when you stack them, they dry right. So I'm going to have to move these. I'll go get my my tractor to move them, because I have to move them a little bit of ways to an area, and then stack the 2x12s, and then I can roll the other one down and see if I can get it cut up today too. Now the listing of these boards, the pricing is from Lowe's. It is now the beginning of November in 2025, and each 2x6x12 was $13.62, and a 2x10x12 was $19.86. So I just multiplied them to get a cost. That's what it would have cost me to buy them from Lowe's. And that one bad board, I'm almost positive I hit a rock right about where that knot was. That's kind of why you see me cleaning up dirt off the log. I probably should have done that earlier. I just didn't do it, and it probably cost me a saw blade. But once again, this is the old man with the plan, and I hope to see you later.